And welcome back to the Kiosk Presents. My guests today are retirement savings expert Greg Burrows and EBRI Education Director Nevin Adams, and they're here to discuss some new survey results about Americans' retirement confidence. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Rick.
So, in the past several years, retirement finance has been a huge concern in the news, although I think it's probably been a big concern for people for many, many years. But what is it saying? What is the message saying right now?
Well, I think the message is, people as they look out to retirement, people who are currently working, they're feeling better about their prospects for a financially secure retirement than they did, let's say, 5 years ago or even 7 years ago. They're a long way from being, wildly optimistic. There's a lot of room to grow there, if you will. But,
Sure.
But people are feeling better about things, so that's a good sign.
Now, can you take us back a little bit over the trends, say, over the last 10, 15, even 20 years? How have things changed, and how has people's sort of avenues to retirement changed?
Well, there have been a lot of changes in the retirement market. It's been widely discussed in the media and things like that. The trend from defined benefit plans to 401k plans, for instance, probably being the one that people are most aware of.
Sure.
What they're probably not aware of is that most people didn't actually ever have a defined benefit pension plan. And if you look out today, a great many more people do, in fact, have coverage and balances in 401k plans. So, there's been a sense that maybe people used to have pensions and don't so much anymore, and the reality is that a group of people had pensions and a smaller group of people got a lot of good money out of pensions, but most people didn't have that opportunity. So we've kind of been on our own, if you will, in terms of saving for retirement for a long time. We're obviously able to do that because of the important foundation support that Social Security provides to people's retirement security, but these days, it's about preparation. It's about setting money aside on your own, taking responsibility for that.
Sure, and I think everybody sort of realizes that. But as young folks just starting out, I think that's probably the furthest thing from their mind. So how do you? I mean, how about some tips on how to save? Especially with the bills that come along with being a young person, a young couple, a young family.
Rick, I would agree with you wholeheartedly that it's probably the last thing on young workers' minds, but it probably should be one of the first things on young workers' minds. We're in an era of personal responsibility where our future retirement is going to be really built around our own savings patterns. We should change the conversation from thinking of savings and think about it as consumption for retirement so that people build it into their lifestyle and prepare themselves. Young workers entering the workforce are in the best position to put themselves in a really good spot at retirement because they have advantage of a lot of years to save as well as a lot of years to have investment returns. So we really encourage young workers especially to go ahead and take advantage of the opportunity. So
as a young person, just out of college, starting their first job, on a starting pay of even, let's say, $35,000, $40,000. What percentage of that income should they strive to save?
As we've done work at the Principal Financial Group and estimate how much savings rate should be, what we think is that individuals should be saving at least 10% of their pay over an entire working career so that they have enough built up to be able to draw income in retirement. So in the survey, we see a couple of things that are important. One, only 4 out of 10 workers are actually using retirement savings calculators. That means most are guessing. Those that do use calculators tend to take action and save more. So we'd encourage people to go to principal.com or choosetosave.org. The second thing is that more than half of workers identify that managing daily expenses precludes them from saving. So build a plan that focuses on both the spending side and the saving side. Savings won't just happen on their own. They're a positive outcome of a disciplined plan that really focuses on both sides.
Right. So, and I mean, I think it's kind of tough because when you're, again, and I'm sort of focusing, I know maybe a little too much so on younger people, but I think it is tough when you're young to be thinking that far ahead into the future. And you know, when I remember when, you know, interest rates were you know, much better than what they are today, I think, you know, your savings grew at a better rate, and you saw a little bit more growth that way. Where I don't know, I just think it's a little bit different today.
Well, Rick, you may have a point there, but the reality is, you know, it's never been easy for younger people to think about retirement, much less save for retirement. It's the kind of thing that drives my kids crazy when I tell them that. But you know, it's the reality. It wasn't a priority for me coming right out of college either. But again, and making considerably less than the amounts of money you're talking about, I should add. But what I did was I had a 401k plan. Actually, it wasn't even a 401k plan at the time. They hadn't been invented. But my employer, for every dollar I put in, the employer put some money in on my behalf as well. So yeah, you know, maybe if you're investing it in a CD, you're not going to get you know, a double-digit return. But there are other investment options to you available in the plan. And beyond that, if that employer that you work for does provide a match, you know, that's a heck of a return. That could be 50 cents on the dollar. What kind of investment are you going to make that'll give you that kind of thing?
Right, right. Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. So let's say you're sitting down now talking to your kids about retirement. What would you tell them to do? What would be your advice to them?
Make it a priority. It's a very, very important part of your lifestyle and your planning for the future. And it really does, I use the word lifestyle intentionally. It has to become part of a lifestyle in terms of thinking about preparing for retirement. So the simple message to my kids growing up would be, start early, be consistent, save over your entire career, and don't touch the money until you reach retirement.
Okay, one final question now. Somebody starting off a little later in life. Now let's say you have a 40 to 50-year-old person that finally lands the dream job. What should they be doing? What should they be thinking?
Equally as important is assess your own situation as to where you're at any given point in time. The advantage that younger workers have is they have more time, and so those who are more in their mid-career really probably need to even think more hardly about my expenses and my savings and using retirement calculators. Great tools to use at principal.com and choosetosave.org. They're free and they're simple, and we really encourage people to use them.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on the Kiosk Presents, and I'm sure the good folks in Buffalo and Western New York appreciate your good advice. So you have a great rest of the day, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At Airport Plaza Jewelers, the showroom, a really great diamond doesn't cost an arm and a leg, but really big diamonds,
they don't cost an arm and a leg either.
Please feel free to shop around, do some comparisons, and come on into the showroom and let us show you how many thousands of dollars we can save you on a really quality diamond engagement ring. Take the 33 Expressway East to Union Road, get out, you'll see the big LED sign, and you'll see the little kiosk, but then right behind the little kiosk, the showroom, right next door to Subway. Come on down and look at some really beautiful diamond engagement rings. Again, on display, on sale, right here at the showroom.